Welcome, dear audience, to This Week in Clown World, the video series dedicated to reliving the events of the simulation because yes, it really happened and no, we weren't dreaming. Well, we're just about into April now and things just keep getting dumblier, like the imported criminal clientele not getting deported because oh lordy, he might be an alcoholic and Pakistan don't like that. Or the complete cancellation of Easter at a primary school because, my god, it might offend the imported religious clientele. What a time to be alive. But before we begin, yes, I did miss last week's video and for that I give my apologies. It was a hard weekend of wall mounting a TV while a domestic terrorist, also known as my son, decided he would also help by grabbing all the sockets out of my damn toolbox, and I still don't know where all of them are. And then the next day was of course the UK's Mother's Day, and to help celebrate for all those birthing persons across this country, I, the man of my house, put the mother to my child to work by pulling up weeds at the allotment. Woman, the potatoes aren't gonna grow themselves. Basically, had a lot going on, so you know, I kinda ran out of time. However, here we are now. This week, the week that weeked so hard that there will never be a week like it. But before I delve any deeper into the dumbassery of grown adults doing clown things, we might as well catch up with what happened last week. When it turns out the very big brain multimillionaires who hold influence over global governments and use that influence to push through policies that they financially benefit from are indeed practicing what they preach, because for the upcoming climate summit in Brazil, they decided that they would lead by example and host it entirely on Microsoft Teams, therefore emitting a fraction of the CO2 that they would have otherwise emitted by attending in person. Oh wait, sorry, I read the wrong script right there because that was from the universe where grown adults don't act like fucking clowns. Yes, the multimillionaires who definitely followed the science TM decided that they would land all their private jets at the airports in Brazil and feast upon succulent steak at restaurants that you would splurge your entire life savings on just for the tap water. And after their bellies are full, they would go drive all the way through the Amazon rainforest to attend their little summit. But there's a bit of an issue. There's a lot of trees in the way. So to overcome this self-imposed obstacle, they decided they would bulldoze down the entire lot and lay down a new highway. You know, to attend the place that they said, yeah, we should attend this place, and they didn't have any links to get to that place, so they're now going to destroy the trees that they apparently really like. My god, and people still actually believe the shite they come out with. Meanwhile, away from the hypocrites, within the Soviet kingdom, the failed state, it turned out celebrating a religious Christian holiday isn't very Islamic. Actually, it's a fucking hate crime. Yes, a little primary school decided that letting kids paint some eggs and eat a little bit of chocolate was haram, and it would offend the people who came to this country knowing full well they were going to a place where the moral structure and tradition is firmly based on Judeo-Christian values. But just when you imagine all those disappointed children being refused the nation's pastime, do not fear. Because although being English and white is a hate crime, at least we can all instead celebrate Refugee Week, where the children are propagandized with suicidal empathy, just so when Abdul, the local boatman, does horrific things to children, we can all go back on the streets with our refugees welcome placards, ready for another vile crime against the civilian population that was purposely imported. And it isn't even surprising because they tried propagandizing the children before and everyone fucking hated it. Kids should be making sandcastles and learning their times table. Get the fuck out of here with this propagandized shite. Oh lordy, it is time to get out of this country. And this comes after a local Pakistani man who touched children and for some reason has never been sent to a wood chipper got to stay in a failed state this week because, let me check my notes, even though he has multiple no touching convictions and clearly is a very big danger to the civilian population, he has a poor alcoholic condition, and if he gets sent back to where he comes from, Pakistan, they don't like people who drink alcohol. Great, so our culture allows foreign child touchers to stay here, but Pakistan won't allow people to drink alcohol. What an absolute failed state. But while that was happening, it also turned out if you hire out a sports hall at a primary school over the weekend to celebrate your teenager's birthday, well, be prepared for societal enrichment because a gang of youths coming in with knives and assaulting everyone is exactly what you expect from a country that is indeed a shithole. And as the tradition of the British people, somebody of course had to be Stabby McStabbed. Fee you, for a second there, I thought we weren't going to stab anyone this week. Now that wasn't it either, because when your society is collapsing in on itself by feminized men getting elected by the propagandized population, who then go on to enact dangerous policies that decay the moral fabric of a cohesive community, leading to the shit that we're now in, at least we can rely on one thing to save us. Ninjas! Yes, there's a reason Japan is considered one of the safest countries in the world, even when they have historically been a very diverse country with like trans Japanese fellas and lesbians. It was because the ninjas had swords and they protected the vulnerable people in society. And over here in Little Eggland, we thought too that we had our very own ninjas. We're now no longer allowed to use them as Big Daddy government is gonna ban owning one. Oh, what? No more ninjas? That's terrible! Well, so glad Big Daddy Starmer is going to ban the ninja swords to stop all those killings, like when the Conservatory Party banned the zombie knives, and then magically everybody stopped getting stabbed. Oh wait, sorry, that doesn't make any sense, does it? Because I thought banning the knives stopped the violence and not fundamental society and judicial changes would. Yeah, banning doesn't work when your entire kitchen is a fucking murder room. What's next? We're gonna ban butter knives? Instead of having the real conversation about how we ended up like this? And to all my British boys and guys out there watching this video, if the population votes for more of this shite in 2029, it is about time that we leave. There is no coming back from it. We have lost because we cannot save the people from being so dumb that they would vote for more of this type of shit. Anyway, no one cares about the failed state because it's the equivalent of a Somalian newsfeed. What else happened? Where a discovery was made that's so bigly it will blow your tits off. Yes, that's right. Using satellites and physics and that shit, a team of Italian scientists have discovered your mum's butt plug is indeed hidden in Egypt. Nah, just fucking pyramids got mega structures underneath them, ain't they? Well, I took a keen interest in this one, like a real keen interest, because if this is real and there are mega structures beneath the pyramids that extends hundreds of meters below ground, then that will fundamentally change everything, and ancient aliens were right this entire time. It was the fucking aliens! Although it really ain't. Now, I ain't gonna pretend that I understand exactly how they managed to get all this data. All I do know is they use surface level micro ground movements to extract a 3D rendering of below ground structures because vibrations travel at different speeds through different mediums. Does the science work? Kind of, because they've proven they can pick up certain things, although not without a lot of noise. But that deep? Yeah, they're gonna have to explain that one, especially through groundwater levels, that isn't presented in Italian and doesn't use lizard people as the explanation. Yeah, if it smells like a bunch of shite, it probably is a bunch of shite and these guys are taking massive liberties with their data. But saying that, I actually really want this to be true. It would be an incredible discovery and Flint Dibble, the soy-faced fake archaeologist in chief, will have to suck Graham Hancock's nuts on Joe Rogan. And just when you thought last week couldn't get any weirdlier with like these pyramids and stuff, boy, here is another one. Apparently, released documents have resurfaced showing that a remote viewer back in the days of the Project Sunbeam totally saw where the Ark of the Covenant is, and it's somewhere in this general region, and it's also guarded so we can't find it. My god, that was the most convincing evidence I've ever seen in the history of ever. It's about as believable as a female athlete with big fat hairy balls. Alright, anything else from last week before we get into this one? Just to mention, South Africa, the country currently massacring white farmers, are now claiming that they're not massacring white farmers, so anyone noticing the repeated stories about white farmers dying to death through diversity murders are just lying and they're all very happy together. And that rather popular politician guy definitely isn't calling openly for a genocide, and your eyes are indeed lying to you. Alright, time for this week. The week that weaked so hard, everyone's glad that it will never weak again. But I'll be absolutely honest here, guys. I've had such a week myself, I have barely been able to keep up with the current clown world. So we'll probably miss some absolute blinders here. But I tell you, audience, there is one man on the planet right now who is playing their best blinder ever. And by that I mean lying their ass off. Yes, Keir Stalin, the soy-faced Prime Minister of the Socialist Kingdom. Because I was having a gander on X the other day, and this utter fucking whale of a lie turned up, spewed specifically from the butt cheeks of the elected government. And I'd like to think this is the accumulation of all my Clown World videos into one post. Yes, according to Stalin, he's securing the Great British borders and ensuring the safety of the citizens by running record levels of boat people with beards turning up in a dinghy, then claiming blaming their children for some reason. I mean, there is gaslighting, and then there is retardedly gaslighting. Then there was putting more money into our pockets by, let's see, refusing to increase income tax thresholds, then mandating a minimal wage increase while increasing business taxes in a completely stagnant economy so people are just starting to lose their jobs. And also, as he says that, the cost of living is going up massively. What money? Where is my dollar make me hotter, Stalin? But even if that is a lie, surely he's making our streets safer by, who fucking knows? Probably by arresting the internet people causing real-world hurty words. Hey look, there's another PDF file given leave to remain in the country after touching children. Yay! And then Keir Stalin is saying he's giving better opportunities to our children by, cancelling Easter and putting tax on private school fees so parents now have to send their children to state schools that fucking suck. What is this guy smoking? And of course, they are making energy cheaper by increasing energy bills that are pretty much spiraling out of control these days. Even though they promised us after destroying the coastline with fucking windmills that our bills would go down. Newsflash, they didn't, they went up. I mean, I have a hybrid car and solar panels on the roof, and no, I'm not some kind of hippie. I purposely got them because it's so damn expensive to do fucking anything in this country. And if the sun isn't shining, there is no point putting the car on charge because the current petrol prices, which are out of the control of the Labour Party, are so low that it works out almost equal just to drive on ice. And the thing about it is the car's a fucking 4x4. It can fit so many cardboard boxes in that bad boy. But away from my choice of vehicle after my last car crapped its pants, the Soviet Kingdom has reached full 1984 with this level of shitposting. It is incredible that people actually vote for this. And just to put a bit more perspective on how retarded this failed state of a country is, earlier this week it was revealed that 2 parents were arrested by the Stasi because, let me check my notes, they criticised a school on WhatsApp and the school didn't like that very much, so in the slammer for 12 hours they go. Very naughty parents. How dare they talk ill of, just taking my notes again, a school. And the thing is, this isn't an isolated event. You legit prompt a police response for just merely suggesting that Keir Stalin might just be a complete and utter lying. Oh, and what's that over there? Oh yeah, a toddler getting refused entry to a nursery because he said something that's transphobic. I guess the next time my son pretends that he's a doggy, I have to go along with it because if not, the fucking police will come in. Meanwhile, in the former socialist motherland, some weird shit apparently happened back in the early 90s. And though it wasn't a local drunk Pakistani bloke getting their deportation orders blocked for touching children, it was because according to declassified documents from the CIA, who have never lied once, apparently the Soviets, who are also renowned for never lying once, shot down a flying saucer just hanging out in the sky one day during a military exercise, and those aliens were so big mad about it, they went full on Triforce Dragon Ball Z fusion and merged into one being, and then turned all the military fellas into stone as revenge for shooting down their spaceship. What? But luckily, there were 2 survivors from the harrowing true event who managed to not get stoned because they were slightly further away or something, and yeah, they told the story of how aliens came down once and then they got big mad so they bonged everyone. Bullshit. It's yet another one of those secondhand stories with zero evidence, like that big song and dance about the Congress disclosure hearings by an ex-Pentagon fella who provided zero proof of any aliens and simply heard all the stories from other people. I want to see those aliens' ass cheek getting clapped, and I want to see their spaceship. Every damn time we get a little bit of excitement about the fucking aliens, there is nobody there to provide the proof. And that's pretty much it for the week. Nothing else happened. Nothing at all. Everything is absolutely... Jesus Christ, what caused that dump? Yes, the great market crash of 2025. The big red that is going to tear down the fabric of the global economy. But for what? Why is this happening? Pretty much a bunch of countries put tariffs on American goods, so the Americans put tariffs back on them, and suddenly a global meltdown. And okay, big shock, the market is spooked. Shush, it's afraid. But while everyone is freaking out and going a bit mental thinking this is it, and everyone is definitely going to die this time, they are missing the bigger picture. Market go down, then market go up, get market when it's down, and leave market when it's up. That way you make all the money. It is the opportunity of a lifetime that you should take full advantage of when the time is right. And although my stonks are currently proper in the red right now, I don't really care. These tariffs are blatantly another classic orange man negotiation tactic, so load up while it's cheap. Because it's entirely predictable that after he has fucked everyone over, they all start shitting their little pants, and to undo all of this Otto SpaghettiOs, all they have to do is negotiate terms that are beneficial to both sides and doesn't strip countries of their labor potential. As he points out, Germany can sell all their cars in America on the cheap, but the American cars are tariffed the fuck out in the European market, therefore they can't sell any. Although, to be fair, here in Europe we have a lot of corners, and I heard Americans don't make their cars with steering wheels because everything is so damn straight in that land. However, this is a very big gamble for the Orange Man, because boy, if those countries decide that they would rather hang out with China instead of the Americans, that will be a very big oopsie-daisy, so let's hope that doesn't happen. Alright, maybe more will happen next week on that one, and possibly a Black Monday coming too. Don't know. Big shout out to all my Patreon boys and guys. Every night I dream of us getting sent to gulags for committing hate crimes. Love you all very much, Ling.
Subscribe button.
Is always right.